and gentlemen, gather around. Look into the world of custom motorcycles. We've gathered some of the industry's top builders and fabricators on this stage to show you their skills live and in person. Watch as they chop, grind, and weld their creations into existence right before your very eyes. Feel free to ask questions at any time directly to your host, Pat Jansen. The doors to the shop are open, so pull up a stool, kick back, and welcome to the Grease and Gears Garage.
All right, yeah, man. Grease and Gears Garage. Progressive Motorcycle Insurance has brought us here to Ohio Bike Week. We want to thank them and their partners, Indian Motorcycle and Castrol Oil. Big fans of all those products, and they're big fans of yours because they brought us here. My name's Pat Jansen. I hail from Iowa. I talk funny because I'm from Georgia, though, but I live in Iowa. I got Sin Central Garage out there. But what is Grease and Gears Garage? Well, we're just a bunch of mechanics. We travel around the country with our setting up garage tools on stage, and we basically are inviting you into a garage to see one of our friends. Today it's Daniel from Pandemonium, a nice local boy, Ohio boy, do something that a custom motorcycle builder typically does in their shop any particular day. Because we want to inspire you and entertain you, but more than anything, we want to encourage you to take whatever you're riding. Maybe it's a Vespa. I'm sure the guy in the black hat over here, he's proud of that Vespa. It's a 450. He kills it on that thing. But they're not. Hey, the only accident I've had lately was on a stupid Vespa, so don't joke about those. No, but if you ride a Yamaha, a Honda, a Harley, a Triumph, whatever, a dirt bike, whatever you're riding, we want you to be able to feel confident and being able to customize it and make it your own and have a different kind of relationship with it. One of the things that says custom, unlike really anything else on a motorcycle, is the exhaust. When you look at a motorcycle and it has something other than the stock exhaust on it, you immediately recognize it. It's like a boob job or a nose job. You can just tell that it's new and that it's been customized. And so we've got Daniel from Pandemonium today.
How's it going?
Good. And you're going to walk us through whether we've got a metric bike, a Harley, whatever it is.
Yes, sir.
You're just going to walk me through kind of how you go about producing custom exhaust for motorcycles. Go ahead. Where do we start?
Well, for starters, you have metric bikes, Harley base bikes, and of course, different ones use different primary size tubing. Most of your metric bikes are coming in at around 1.5 inches. Metric bike, Harley bikes started at around 1.75 inches primary pipes. Also, there's different thicknesses of tubing, from 16 gauge or standard, 18 gauge is a little lighter weight. And then you can get into your stainless stuff. We're mainly going to focus on steel exhaust systems today. There's also different types of bends. Mandrel bent tubing is the most popular because it's bent on a mandrel, which means there's basically a bending dial around the outside of it and also a die through the inside of it. And what that does is it keeps it from kinking. So you get a nice flow.
If you've ever bent conduit or seen conduit
Yes.
in your home bent, it is not mandrel bent. It is just bent on a tubing bender.
Yep.
And it crimps and it flattens out a little bit. And that's not what you're looking for in your exhaust. The other thing to point out is Daniel does this professionally, can build you a beautiful exhaust at Pandemonium, but you don't have to have a mandrel bender. There's all kinds of companies now that sell custom exhaust kits. So you can get the pieces and work
And as
with
you
it.
were talking, mandrel bent tubing, there's no kinks in it. It's very smooth. It keeps its diameter consistent. This is what you want for a performance exhaust system. Whether you buy it from a big name manufacturer or from a guy like me that builds them one at a time.
It's like with water. You don't want anything restricting it. You want it to be as smooth as possible,
Correct.
so that there's nothing, not a bump. You would be surprised at the difference between if there's just a little bit of crap splatter even inside
Yes.
a pipe, how
Yes.
that changes the flow of air. So,
Yes. Well, and then the next part on that is you have to come up with an idea of what you want your exhaust system to look like. You want high pipes, you want drag pipes, you got an old school pan, you got a 4-into-1 with a collector, then
Right.
and then a Merg muffler, megaphone. There's so many options. Your imagination is your limitation. But when building an exhaust system, sometimes the mandrel bends do limit what you can actually make. So you go at it with an idea, and the mandrel bends tell you what you can do.
you can only bend like 1-inch tubing so far before you simply can't get any bend on it.
Correct. For instance, there's two different mandrel bends here. This is a 6-inch radius. This here is a 2 1/4, I believe. The tighter you go, the more restrictive on the exhaust flow. I don't recommend anything over a 3-inch radius for a performance exhaust system. And what the radius is, it's the center line of the tubing. The center, there. All exhaust mandrel bends are measured that way when you want to go and buy them. You'll have a 3-inch center line radius, a 2-inch center line radius, and one's tighter, one's has a larger radius. So you're going to have those choices too. So you got a bike that vibrates a lot. Harley, metric bike. Inline 4, not so much. 16 or 18 gauge. So if we're going to have a lot of vibration, we want to build a heavy duty exhaust, so we're going to go with 16 gauge. Light race bike, we'll go with the 18. Save some weight.
There you go.
So we've got our idea, we've bought our pipe. The next thing is we got to actually take this pile of mandrel bent tubing and turn it into something. So we need to cut it correctly. And this is what I've come up with. This is very simple. It's just a board with a screw in the center, a piece of string, some circles, draw it on there with a compass. And what I call this is a center line radius tool. You can take this 3-inch from the center line of the radius, and you can kind of...
Let me pull this away just a little bit.
Okay.
We never were in a boy band, and so it makes it tough for us sometimes with the mics.
So as you can see, I'm using the circles on the board for reference. And then you can take the string, and you can go around the center line. This is the center line of the radius as you travel it around through here. Anywhere you make a cut or a mark, you can cut it. We'll get into the cutting part here in a minute. So you want to mark this right here, you cut that right there, and when you're done, you can cut these cuts anywhere. So I cut it right about there. Any way you turn these, you'll have a seamless flow in your exhaust system,
That's pretty neat. That's a cool trick.
no matter where you put it. It's awesome. It makes for a very nice quality exhaust system. So I wanted to back up a little real quick here too. And
If you guys also, you'll see him showing this to the camera. We've got everything we're doing on stage. You can see on these screens if you can't see it. If there's something in particular that you want to see more of, if you want to get more hands-on, just feel free to come on up and let me know. I'll bring you on stage and you can take a closer look or participate. We also Facebook Live all of these, so there's people out there watching us right now, and it's going to be on Grease and Gears Garage YouTube channel and Cycle Source Magazine's Facebook page, so you can go check that out. Go ahead, Daniel.
So another way to determine even what you have, let's say you got some mandrel bends and you have no clue what they are. You can come in with a Sharpie, do a little mark both sides. Take a straight edge, just scratch that like that. Measure from there to there, divide by 2. That's the center line of this radius. So now you know what you're working with. Okay? Also, while we're talking about center line radius, this board with the screw in the center, you know, the guy that's getting into it for his first time, that's a quick, easy, I mean, I went to the local hardware store and bought this board brand new for $2.32. It's cheap, you know, just so I could do this demonstration. This is another center line radius tool. This is designed for a bandsaw. You can put a guide that runs in the bandsaw groove so that stays in the center line all the time. Take your mandrel bend, you can move this around and it stays in the center line all the time. And what I've also done too is your common ones, 180 degrees, 45 degrees. You can mark that on this board so you can repeat those cuts over and over again. You can also make these out of aluminum or steel, you know, whichever works out.
Right. Wood's cheap.
What's that?
Wood's cheap.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, it works out good.
Yeah.
Works very well. So the next thing is going to be cutting this. You could cut this bare minimum once you have it marked with a hacksaw, a cutoff wheel, a portaband. If you have access to a metal bandsaw, that works great too. A sawzall, anything to cut it. You just want to try to cut it straight. And I also, when you're new to building exhaust systems, you kind of think you mark it right here and that's going to work, cut it a little long. And you can always sneak up to it until it fits right.
It's much harder to cut things longer.
Yeah, because then you just have to weld back on what you just cut off.
Yep.
So, yeah.
All right. What's the next step then?
Let's see. I want to touch on a 2-into-1 collector real quick, if I can. So I've come up with this. So you guys that want to do a 2-into-1 exhaust, Harley, whatever, 5-gallon bucket paint stick. You get you a 90-degree U-bend, 90-degree mandrel bend. You come in here and you can mark it on this side, like so. The reason I'm using the paint stick is because it has about 1/4 of an inch of thickness. When I started doing this stuff a long time ago, I didn't have no fancy tools, so I had to come up with cheap alternatives. So as you can see, it's kind of got an X on there. And what I would do is I'd come in through here and make a cut and make a cut. This is the part of the cooking show. There you can see it used to be a 90. But now that we've cut it that way, we've made our 2 into our 1 collector. You're building a custom exhaust, you might as well build the whole thing. You can buy these, but it's pretty cool when you can do it yourself. But, and also too, another way, you can take a U-bend and cut it here and here, take the center out, push them together like so, and you can do your collector that way also.
All right.
Let's say we're using 1.5-inch pipe. We'll make our collector out of 1 5/8. Our 1.5-inch pipe will slip into it. It's easy to weld.
All right. I like it, man.
Yeah.
That's a good trick.
And then when welding the collector, I'll take, once again, a paint stick, lay in between it, different thicknesses of paint sticks, they make them. And clamp that together so it holds it straight. You get a weld on top, weld on the bottom, let it cool, pull it out, finish weld it.
Nice. I like it.
So there's your idea, tubing, cutting it, center line radius, big deal to me.
And then I guess it's trying to figure out your design. How do you go about designing a unique custom exhaust system?
Well, in my opinion, every exhaust system has probably been done already. You can take one guy's idea and another guy's idea, kind of combine them, or stuff from the 50s, 60s, you know, the old Triumph high pipes. I love the Triumph high pipes. I've actually got a XS650 exhaust system. It's called the Yo Mama exhaust, and it's a set of high pipes for the XS650 parallel twin.
Right on.
And another thing I wanted to kind of touch on a little bit, I'll take this apart here. You have to come up with a flange to actually get it into the cylinder head. I've seen a lot of guys take stock head pipes and just cut that part off and then
Right.
grow the exhaust system off that. That works just fine. As you can see, 1.5 inch tubing, 1.75 inch DOM, 1.5 inch ID. Slip that over, that makes your flange ring, and then your flange.
A little rosette weld on there, and it just gets it right on there on both sides. That's perfect.
Yep, rosette weld both sides. Or you can weld around the face if you want it flush. I like the 1.5 inch to protrude into the XS650 exhaust port. As you probably can't see that, but
Yeah.
you see what I'm talking about? It's a seamless flow to the exhaust port.
Nice.
So if you're building a 650 and you want an exhaust kit, I put together a kit that has all these components in it. You cut it and build your dream exhaust system out of it.
Yes.
How are we doing? Okay. We can talk too, we were just talking about the flange system and whatnot. On a Harley Davidson, standard is 1.75 inch. So what I do there, take a piece of 1 7/8 16 gauge pipe, cut it about 450 thousandths thick, slip that over the end of it, weld on the face. That will accept the stock Harley snap ring and flange.
Right on.
And you can build right off of that.
Okay.
And the 1 7/8, honestly, just use standard 1 7/8 exhaust tubing. You might have to grind a little seam out of there so it'll
Right.
slip over it. Works
Slips
good.
right on there, though.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm gonna build a Yamama exhaust system up here today. I'm gonna show you how to stick one of these together real quick. So
All
I'm
right, well-
gonna get started on that. I'm gonna grab my welding hood real quick.
Great. For you that are just joining us, that are just kind of cruising by here at Ohio Bike Week, or if you've just joined us on Facebook Live, we have Daniel from Pandemonium up here. We're Grease and Gears Garage. We travel around the country with our tools. We set up a garage on stage. We invite our friends up that are custom bike builders, and we have them show you one thing that they typically do in their shop to customize motorcycles on any given day. We just want to demystify the tools and the processes that go into customizing motorcycles, hoping that you guys will get a deeper relationship with your motorcycles by trying to do something to it. Whether you're on a dirt bike, a Harley, a Honda, a Yamaha, BMW, whatever it is, you will not believe the tremendous satisfaction and pride that you will get once you're able to customize something on your motorcycle and make it your own. So today we got Daniel, and he's showing us how to build a custom exhaust system. I know for a lot of you that seems like that's way out of the realm of possibility for you, but it's actually not. If you're just joining us or walking by again or just on Facebook Live, because we do Facebook Live this, it also gets recorded where it's on our YouTube channel, Grease and Gears Garage. And it's also on Cycle Source Magazine's Facebook page, so you can go back and check it out whenever you want to. Daniel's going to start welding now. He's going to make a Yo Mama exhaust. Pandemonium actually has an exhaust that they've designed and Daniel builds quite regularly out of his shop here in Ohio.
Yes, sir.
And he sells them, so if you decide you don't want to build one for an XS650, you can just buy one. But he's going to show you how he goes about doing that. We also want to thank Progressive Motorcycle Insurance and their partners, Indian Motorcycle and Castrol Oil, for bringing Grease and Gears Garage to Ohio Bike Week. We're big fans of those companies, but obviously they're big fans of yours because they brought us here to be with you all weekend long. So give them some love. Also, Progressive Motorcycle Insurance has set up Flo's Chop Shop just around the corner up there. If you go by there, you can get whatever services they're doing. I think they got some barbers and some shoe shiners and tattoos you can get, all kinds of stuff over there. But the cool thing is you can register to win a brand new Indian Scout, a 2018 Indian Scout. And so get by and do that. It's probably the only way I'm going to get a free motorcycle. Progressive gives me one. But the only way I can get it is to go register. So make your way up there. One of the lovely girls that Progressive has here this weekend and register to win that 2018 Indian Scout. And never ever look at the while welding. It's very painful. Chris, I think I need batteries. I'm cutting in and out. Makes me feel very powerful to be on stage and be able to tell Chris to bring me batteries.
So when you're
Bring
putting
me
your,
batteries. I want more batteries.
So when I'm putting the tubing together, I'm just kind of feeling it with my fingers all around the edges, lining it up, and then just doing a little fusion weld.
All right, Daniel, entertain them, baffle them. I did.
Call it a fusion weld or a
Did I really?
little auto genius weld.
Where'd the clip go?
My dad taught me that.
Bad. Trying to make me feel bad. Look at that. Here, Chris, fix this. Do this. Faster, faster, boy. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Chris Callan. He is the owner, editor, founder,
Oh man.
Cycle Source Magazine, the man. He's also my partner in crime with Grease and Gears Garage. He and I are trying to figure out how we can do this just riding around on motorcycles, but it's a hell of a thing trying to pull a trailer full of tools. We haven't figured that out yet. Chris started Cycle Source Magazine. Well, he started it in an old Volkswagen with no heat out of Pittsburgh. Xerox copies of 8.5 by 11 paper. But he eventually put 250,000 miles on a Harley Ultra Classic named Black Pearl. He rode that thing all over the country, delivering magazines and taking pictures.
So this is a little clamping fixture I made up. It's a couple pieces of tubing, some little angles welded on top. Has wing
right
nuts
on
on here where it makes it adjustable when you're running two pipes parallel with each other. This works out really well. Now you just use some hose clamps to clamp around the tubing, as you'll see here in just a second. But I just wanted to kind of show you that real quick.
Oh, yeah. Chris, did you see this? To keep pipes parallel, he just made that little bracket there, and it keeps them parallel. And you can use a hose clamp just to hold the pipe on.
Just put them together like that.
How's that for a trick?
Keeps them parallel.
thinks about shit way too much.
Yeah, there's some thinking going into that, man. I tell you what, that's some thinking there.
This is why Daniel writes tech for the magazine.
Yeah, Daniel, Chris points out, writes tech for Cycle Source magazine too. So Chris should be taking pictures and using this as a tech article.
He told me I'm supposed to do one on it.
Oh, you're supposed to do one, so now I've called you out in front of the boss. That's all right. I'm supposed to write articles too. Do you sometimes send him articles and then he says he didn't get them? That's what keep happening to mine. I don't think he likes the way I write.
I don't.
But I use a lot of bad words when I write mine.
That might have something to do with it.
Yeah, I type the way I talk. I can't help it. But up here, I'm really good. So if you do go over to Progressive, tell them how clean I was. And
Awesome.
this is my personal photographer, Jeff Klum. He follows me around the country.
And when you make your cuts, like I said, sometimes they get a little bit off. I don't know if you can see this. This cut is off a little bit.
Yep.
Maybe a little bit more than a blade width's off. So I'm going to go touch that up on the belt sander real quick. Because when they're that close, it's not really necessary, in my opinion, to go back to the saw.
Right. And Daniel's going to be TIG welding this exhaust as well. You can MIG weld exhaust. There's nothing wrong with MIG welding exhaust. But he's going to TIG weld it. MIG welding is a little more forgiving in that gap that he just had. It would have been a little more forgiving. TIG welding is not very forgiving with a gap. It is not a good... You should never really use welding wire as a filler metal, but you can with MIG welding. TIG welding, you really... It doesn't like that at all. Again, if anybody that's watching here live wants to see this closer, no, you can stage and check it out. What do we need?
I don't know. Maybe this will fit this time. Should be close. Looks like I took
Mark's
off.
supposed to be up here if you need stuff, but I can never find Mark. I don't know where Mark goes. He just wanders away. Oh, I broke a camera.
So fit is very important with your exhaust tubing fittings. I'm good.
He's good. I was just busting your balls. You guys might recognize Mark. He was Gimli in Lord of the Rings. He's a little grumpy now because the movie series is over, so he has to work on stage with us.
Oh my.
Keeps getting those residuals, baby.
So as a rule of thumb on fitment, if the gap is bigger than the welding rod that you're using, you need to adjust it. And preferably I like it to see it closer than that.
And that's really for MIG or TIG welding. Whenever you're welding,
Yeah.
that's it. You're not going to get a good weld if you're filling in, are you, Daniel?
No.
You're not trying to make metal. You're trying to fuse two pieces together.
Go figure.
If Will
out.
Ramsey was up here right now, he'd go through the metallurgy and
Yeah.
everybody'd fall asleep. But
Will's a smart man.
he's too smart, though. He's too smart. I can't keep up. He's smart and he's good looking. I don't like either one of those things in a man. Just challenges me. Now, Daniel, how long have you been building custom motorcycles there at Pandemonium?
Pandemonium opened officially in 2006.
So
In 2010, I went full time. I just started moonlighting at first, which I advise anybody to do that. Don't just jump in with both feet. Make it prove itself first.
I hear ya.
And, you know, 2006, so I guess we're 12 years this month. Wow.
Wow,
I didn't
12
even
years.
think
It's
about
your
that.
anniversary month. You ought to buy yourself a cupcake.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that.
Anybody that's
Kinda
thinking
crazy.
about opening a custom motorcycle shop, stop thinking about it. It is a tough way to make a living.
It is. You have to love it.
Oh, it's got to be a passion.
And I do. I love the motorcycle community.
And
It's
marry
awesome.
and it helps if you're married to somebody rich, because it's going to take all their money.
And when I'm putting it together, I like to, it's in your best interest to try to get 3 tack welds on it. And not have a windy day like I'm having right now. That way when you go to remove it, it'll stay together while you're welding it. Okay. So you're putting 2 pieces of tubing end to end, like so, let's say. Well, how do you keep them from doing that? Well, what I like to do is take a piece of angle and lay the piece of angle on both pieces and join them with some hose clamps.
Look at that.
And what that does is it aligns the tubing in the V of the angle.
So you get a nice straight tack on there.
Yeah.
You get tack and it's nice and straight.
Yeah, works out really well. And once again, it's just a scrap piece.
You're clever, like two peoples. You're a very clever man, you are, there,
thank you.
Daniel.
Thank you.
For those of you that are just joining us, we're Grease and Gears Garage. This is Daniel from Pandemonium. He is sharing with us how to build a custom exhaust for a motorcycle. You can go to our YouTube page, Grease and Gears Garage, if you want to check this out, Cycle Source Magazine. We Facebook Live this, so you can also go there and you can see all the different segments that we do. We do everything from narrowing tanks, building tanks from scratch, building frames, springers, exhaust, rebuilding the top end on motors. We're here just to help you guys understand what you can do to customize your own bike. You had a question? Yeah, he is going to TIG weld it. You could MIG weld it. TIG welding isn't, MIG welding isn't as clean a welding process. You get splatter. You have to take it off. With TIG welding, it's just a cleaner process. Yeah, but you can MIG weld it. There's no reason. You know, I've seen guys that MIG weld they make it just as pretty. A little more cleanup, whatever. But exhaust doesn't care. The metal doesn't care, really. We've talked about it with motorcycle frames before. It's actually last year in Sturgis. Again, Will Ramsey from Faith for God Choppers was building a frame. And he was telling people you could TIG weld it, you can MIG weld it. I said, you could even stick weld it, right? And he said, yeah, it'd just be ugly. Stick welding is even a messier process. So. But technically, as long as you get good metal penetration, you can use any form of welding you want to on it. What's that? 100? Yeah, he's running 100 right now. This is 16 gauge that you're doing?
Yes, this is 16 gauge.
16 gauge tubing.
It's ERW seam welded. You can also see here how the tubing aligns very nicely.
Right.
Having some problem with the wind today, blowing my argon away, so if you can see my tack welds, please excuse them.
There's nothing worse than welding in public outside using somebody else's equipment. Because for some reason, I don't care, if it's not your welder,
It's
welds different. They build them all the same, but they are all different. I don't care
Yeah,
what you say.
They are.
I've had people let me use brand new nice welders, man. I just keep using my old one because I can't get used to anything else.
Yeah, I like mine too.
Daniel, we're right there at the end of our time,
All
I think.
right.
So, but you did good. You got us done. Look at that.
Yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, for the crowd out here, we'll turn it. Whoop, can we
Yep.
turn this table? Yeah, just unlock those. So you can see that. That camera can pick it up. I think that one died on us. But look at that. We've got a Yo Mama XS650 exhaust built by Daniel from Pandemonium.
Yeah, if you need one, hit me up. I'll build you one.
There you go. So
Thanks for watching.
yeah, so you go try to build your own and then call Daniel and he'll get you one.
For sure.
But I tell you what, folks, so we do thank Progressive Motorcycle Insurance and their partners, Indian Motorcycles and Castrol Oil, for bringing Grease and Gears Garage. And we thank you, Daniel, from Pandemonium,
having me.
for coming out. What's your shop's Instagram?
Pandemonium C2.
Pandemonium C2 website?
PandemoniumCustomChoppers.com. And if you want to call me, I will answer the phone and talk to you. If you want to email, that works too, but you'll talk to Carrie.
All right.
Keep reading Cycle Source Magazine. Check me out every month.
There you go. Thank you, folks, for being with us. Folks
Yeah.
on Facebook Live, thank you for
Thanks
being
for
with us.
watching.
Thank you, Daniel.